Carlos Nelson with Cascade Media Group, and tonight we're on our educational channel, and we're continuing our series honoring the Kansas Black Educators Hall of Fame inductees. I believe there's about 50 educators. They got probably about 1,000 years worth of daggone experience between the 50 people that have been inducted. And tonight we've got Dr. Dawn. Her students call her Mama Dawn. And we'd like to welcome you to the show.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
All right. I talked to you off camera, and as most of my audience knows, I'm like, let's go back to kindergarten. Tell our audience a little bit about yourself, who you are, how you were raised, how you got into education, and some of the people that mentored you. The ball is in your court.
Okay. Well, I was born on the south side of Chicago. I like to tell people not next to, but around the same area as Michelle Obama. Raised on the south side of Chicago in an all-Black neighborhood, went to an all-Black church. And then my father really believed in the fair housing rights and the work of Martin Luther King when he marched in Chicago. He believed in that work and decided to move us to a suburb so we would have a better chance at education and some different housing opportunities. And so when I was 8, I moved to an all-white neighborhood, an all-white school, an all-white church. And so it was a big challenge for me, balancing education, opportunities, being a Black American, all those things. So I'm a product of preachers and teachers. My dad was a preacher and a teacher and a principal. My mom was a nurse, and then in her later years was a United Methodist pastor. And so those two things make up who I am and symbolize me, my faith, and my education.
When you was coming up in high school, what high school did you go to?
By that time I was in the suburbs, western suburbs, and so I went to Lyons Township High School, suburb of Chicago.
That was a mixed high school?
It was predominantly white. It probably was 80-90% white.
What was that like from an educational standpoint? Now you know you got all your stripes and bars. Yes. We talked offline about a think tank for educators, and you've experienced what it's like to be an integrated. What was that like, and how did that imprint on your young mind being in that atmosphere versus being in a urban core school with majority people of color?
So my dad worked in Chicago and majority of people of color as a principal. So when I was in the suburbs, I went to, like I said, an all-white school. It was very difficult for me in finding a sense of community and people that were like me. I had a strong family, had a strong faith background, but in terms of friends and community, it was very, very difficult because I was a brown girl and at a school that didn't have a lot of brown babies in it. And so I struggled through my schooling years, through high school, and even into college. I struggled finding a sense of community, knowing who I was as a person.
All right. You mentioned college. Let's go there. What college did you go to, and when was you in school? And talk about your experience, especially talk about your freshman year.
Okay, so I went away to college. I went to University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana with about 10,000 other freshmen. I went there because that's where my daddy told me I was going. And I went there because both of my brothers were attending the school at the time. One was a sophomore and one was a graduate student. And I got there and I'd never been in a place that big with that many people without, my family kind of around me. And so I struggled. My freshman year, I struggled. And by the first semester, my sophomore year, I had to go back home. My grades were terrible. I had to talk to my dad about, Daddy, I
You sound like me. My freshman year at Virginia State, I had an 0.7 grade point average. My partners, they be like, no, Mr. Nelson, you had a 0.7.
Yes.
And I was on a track scholarship. and I wasn't even eligible to run. You know,
Right.
that environment, getting on your own for the first time,
Yes.
and all of that. And plus, I didn't come from I came from shop, and gym, and really didn't understand you had to study to pass. So run your 4 years in college down.
So it took me 7 years to graduate from college with my exciting 2.4 GPA out of my undergraduate years, because I just struggled. I transferred to a smaller school that I ultimately graduated from, but even there, I dropped out several
What
times.
school was that?
That was North Central College. It's in Naperville, Illinois. And so it's similar to the college that I work at now. But I struggled through, and I would not have graduated if it had not been for people being in my business and being in my life. And I'm grateful for pushy parents, particularly my father, that believed in education and said, you got to finish college. And the people there that pushed me and encouraged me and got me a scholarship when I needed to, or fussed at me when my grades were terrible. And it wasn't because I wasn't smart enough. It's just I wasn't focused. I didn't know what I was doing there. So I got my undergraduate in business, and I graduated in 1990 and moved to Georgia and worked there for 3 years at a homeless shelter for women. And while I was there, I got recruited to the place I work right now. I was recruited here because they were looking for somebody of ethnicity to join the college to help with the college kind of racial issues that were going on at the time. That was 1994. And so I've been here ever since. And I came with my bachelor's degree. I was 28 years old, newly married, didn't know a damn thing. But I had a will to work, and people had helped me. And so here I am.
Talk about, that's your undergraduate. You got the doctor behind your name. I think I talked to you about that. Let's talk about that next degree and what took place.
So I came here and I started gaining confidence in myself, and the college encouraged me to get a master's degree. And so I went to Newman University. It's in Wichita, to get my master's degree, and I got that in adult education. And then a couple of years later after that, I was promoted to be vice president for the first time. And I wanted to get a doctorate. And so my boss at the time, the president of the college, said to me, this time you need to get a degree that will knock people's socks off so that no one will ever question your intellect. And so I decided that I wanted to go to University of Pennsylvania in Philadelphia, and it's an Ivy League school. And so I went there and I graduated in 2007. I decided not to leave my institution, which people thought was crazy. Why would you got this doctorate now, you could go wherever you want. Why would you stay? And I realized I'd always been looking for my own community, my own people. And this little town and this college are my people. And I get paid to help people that were just like myself. So I struggled through college, and I've gotten for the last 30 years to help young people make it through and give them a leg up or a fussing ad or whatever it takes.
Tell me this, the college you work at, is it primarily multiracial? What's the racial mix?
So when I came in 1994, the school was probably 90% white, maybe 95% white, and just a small percentage of ethnic minority students. Most of them had left during racial tension problems and that kind of thing. And so by the time I got here, there was no as I would call them, brown people at the time. And so I've been here 30 years, and right now it's totally different. It's 40% white, 20% that tell the government that they don't want to tell them who they are, and then it's 40% shades of brown. So it's just a little bit of everybody. It's not, you can't hang with your people because there's not enough of your people. You got to kind of mix with everybody. And so it's a powerful testament to be at a college that blends as well as we do. And I always say, please, Jesus, keep that to being so. But I'm really proud of just having been here this long and being in a college that just does amazing things.
With your life experience and knowing how you grew up and knowing what your skill set was at different times, when you spot certain students and what have you, you already can see
Yes.
that they talented and what have you and what they really need. How difficult is it to get them to buy into education?
Well, there's a lot of pulls for students, particularly males have a lot of pulls on them, but students of color, ethnic minority.
Can you talk about any of that in any kind of small detail?
Ask me the question again. I'm sorry.
You were saying about the males, the and what have you. Can you know the different things that hurdles that are in different segments of that diversity. Black male has different challenges
than a Black female does.
Yeah, so
Hispanic students have different. The Hispanic females, their issues are different than the Hispanic male.
Can you run just a couple of, give maybe 4 or 5 Black males, Black females, Hispanics, a little overview of what they're, as you see in education, hurdles.
Okay, so I'm first of all, I'm going to stereotype people and group them in a group, which I hate for people to say they see brown and they know who I am, because you don't. But I'm going to sum up what I would perceive in each of those groups. I think for Black males, it's difficult to do this without getting some kind of athletic scholarship. Athletics tends to be the window with which you can get particularly African-American young men to buy into your institution. So if you have strong athletics, you have to have good coaches, that kind of thing. If you don't, you have to have something that makes them buy in to the campus, particularly when you're talking about a school that maybe not in the state or region that they're coming from, particularly because usually Black men are close to their mama. And if you can get the mama's buy-in, then you got the child. If she's telling her boy he ain't going nowhere, he's not going nowhere.
I hate to say this. When you said that, now I'm bringing some dastardly stuff up. Oh, every time they kill one of these Black men on the street, like they did the boy that they, was on his neck and stuff, what do? They scream for their mama.
That's right. That's right.
And that's what came to my head when you said that. We want our mama.
That's right. Yes, right. A Black man is never ashamed of his mama. I mean, to the day he died.
No matter who she was or what she did.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And so you have to create that kind of environment that we may not be your mama, but we got you. And you got to tell the mama, we got your boy. And the nice thing about our campus is because of where we're located, it's just like an island. It's like a little protective island where you can come and learn and chill, and it's okay to be a college student. And you don't have to worry about all those worldly things just for a time. Can you have 4 years where you could just feel to learn and be free to let your mind do its thing? And so I would say that would be the Black.
What about the young Black women now?
I say I've just been surprised that for us here at Southwestern, this may not be true anyplace else, but for here, one of the hardest groups to keep is African-American women. Because there's so many pulls, your boyfriend, parents, getting a job, taking care of your younger brothers and sisters. I can go cheaper here. The pull for the African-American woman is so difficult that even though, I look like you look like me, you think that would be the highest group that we would have. But there's so many pulls.
What's the challenges you see with your Hispanic and Latino population?
Well, I would say with the females, it's difficult. With Hispanic females, and again, these are generalizations, to me, it's like the flywheel concept. If you can get one family member to make it, then maybe the family gonna trust you with the next person. But if you didn't take care of the older brother or sister, then you're not gonna get the next one. But if you can get the first one, then the flywheel happens, and then the school will trust you, or the families will trust college itself and be willing to try, because they really are trying to protect their family and keep them nestled close to home. Like, no one can protect my baby like I can. I don't know about sending them away to the school. And so I always tell Hispanic young people that if you've got younger brothers and sisters and you want the family to make, you got to succeed, because if you don't succeed, it makes it harder for the next child to get out and succeed.
How important do you feel it is to have a good administration behind your efforts?
Right. And it's just like, I think anything in life, it's like, you know, when your stuff screwed up, like when you talk about your background, when your life wasn't right, you just bumped up against all the other people that wasn't right. And you just fested with broke down folk and bad situations and people that don't uplift you, and they selfish and mean. When you're in an environment that's healthy and strong and there's love at that school, and you don't have to worry about who you are, and you can just chill and be a student, it makes all the difference in the world.
See, what you're talking about sounds like a HBCU, so y'all really must got it going on, because when you go to these large universities, you're just a damn number. I don't care what you talking about. And what, like you said, mama, that's what they call you. I had one at Central State that they refuse to let your ass fail.
Yes.
You don't have as much confidence in yourself as they got in you.
That's right. But the reason it works is because somebody did it for me. I wasn't gonna make it either, but somebody helped me out. And so it is, you know, I just was raised that this is my obligation to send the elevator back down, and that you got to help. And so sometimes people will say, Dawn, you're too hard on these students. And I just say, that's just how I was raised. And so I will, you know, if you think you're going home, I will go up there and pick you up and bring you back.
I love it. Let's talk about some of the awards that you have received, local, nationally. I'm looking, I keep my little, very seldom do I have a little cheat sheet, because I just go off the top of my head. But you done got so many awards, I can't remember all of them. I got to take a look at it. I got to take a look. You received the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Award, W.G. Williams Foundation. You received the Good Apple Award, Wichita USD 259 school system. You received the Wichita Business Journal as a woman who lead. You crushing them, baby doll. What is this? The Ruth Sustained Leadership Award from the University of Pennsylvania. Then the National Humanitarian of the Year Award by the Church Women United. And then what you're on the show for tonight, the Kansas Black Hall of Fame Educators. What does that award mean to you?
It means the world. You get nominated into it. So someone selects you and nominates you.
How do you know what the nomination procedures are?
So somebody who is generally a member or in that community, they will nominate you. And then they have a group of people that evaluate if you are worthy of the award. And so a gentleman named Greg Cole, he is a board member at Southwestern, where I work. He's a board member. He's also a graduate. He nominated me. And at first, he called me to submit my materials, and I did not. He called in October, November, December, and then in January, and asked me, and I didn't think I was ready. Hall of Fame means like that's the end of the career, like that you about to go to the sunset. And I was thinking, I'm too young. I got like stuff to do. This isn't the end for me. And so, and I saw the other people that were being listed, and I just thought, I'm not of that caliber. Like, and then I think the last thing was, I was raised humble of heart. Like, it's not about showcasing yourself or getting some big sushi award or whatever, because no one, you know, for the most part, no one knows I've lived in this small town of 12,000 people working at this college for 30 years. And I just, you know, I was just raised, you work and you do what is required and you help other people. And some conduct is acceptable, some stuff ain't. And we not messing around. It's too, like you said, they're killing the babies. They're killing the babies. And so this degree is too important, and the difference it makes. So yeah, it's just me doing my part.
How do you feel now? I'm switching. Now I'm being giving my damn self a plug, my company a plug. How do you feel communications, especially digital communications and businesses like mine that give exposure to problems and situations that are just dealing with people of color? Do you think that we have enough people in the industry that are portraying Black people and and letting them speak with their own voice? Can you speak on that at all? When I look at things like Tyler Perry, you wouldn't see all of these Black stars over the last decade or more if they weren't coming out of his studios and the movies. The same thing with Byron Allen. I forgot which judge it was. They released him about a month ago. Byron Allen picked him up the next day. If there's no Black people owning and making the decisions, we don't really have a voice. And how important is it for us to own our own communications and all of that? Can you speak to any of that?
Oh, yes. I mean, just Byron Allen to me is a perfect example of, here is a man that just kept working, kept building his craft, and dreamed big. He didn't want to be the influencer. You know what I'm saying? He didn't want to start small and have a YouTube channel. He wanted to own YouTube. And so sometimes I think we just see the cash money and think that's the goal. If you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, the
money will come.
The money will come, and I know that, but it's sticking to. People think like, how did you do that? I just stuck at the same place for 30 years.
But you know what? They don't understand that. And what I do, it's like I started this in 2008. This stuff just didn't pop up.
That's right.
And all of the people that I've been dealing with, especially people of color, they can't see no further than the meal is right in front of them.
That's right. And this is it's deciding, instead of going to the restaurant for a quick meal, this is just home cooking every day. Work it, save your money, don't do something stupid, make wise choices. And it's going to be boring and it's going to take a long time. But if you're looking for instant, then you get instant. And I'm not looking for instant. I'm looking for higher level things.
And most of the people, especially our young people, they really don't know what success looks like.
But I guess I would say, though, I know we say young people all the time, but the young people learn from somebody, and that was us.
Right. So, well, I don't disagree, but there's no instant success.
No, there's not.
I say Europeans have controlled 100% of all communications on the planet, and most of us are bought into major communications, and you're looking at things that are poisoning your mind, that are giving you a wrong direction. And when you look at our youth, they're really invested in digital communications with these phones, and they're receiving poison 24 hours a day on not their economics, their health, everything that is coming to them is somewhat poison. And the hard part for me is that a lot of our leadership is feeding it to them or buying into it because they need a job, and they're delivering the message of the people that are subjugating the planet, not just Black people.
Right. And so to me, that's why education is so important. I tell people, it's what you put in your brain. Your brain. And people are always trying to go cheap or not get one or quick or whatever. It's your brain. Why would we put an inferior, cheap product in our brain? You don't drive a cheap car. You don't live in a cheap house. You don't want a cheap woman. Why would you want a cheap education?
And education is used not to memorize, to teach you how to obtain valuable information so that you can apply it. Information applied is power. That's why they all upset about the security breach, because that information in the right hands is powerful. And I don't think that people of color, I'm talking about the majority, put a value on intellectual information. As if I can't touch it, eat it, or spend it, it's not it doesn't have value. Right. So in closing out, what I would want you to what would you have to say to fellow educators first, and then what would you have to say to students?
I would say that the work is hard, and it's not, sometimes it's not fun. Sometimes you're not making as much money as other fields are doing, but the work is crucial and someone has to do it. And so unfortunately in these times, you gotta decide, is your need for right now more important than the future of our country, the future of our young people? And to me, it is the most important of all. No, the work is not easy, but you just stick and you work every day and the rewards will come. And I think it is our responsibility to put knowledge, to help students learn knowledge. It's vital. And I believe it.
Well, I think that's excellent to end on. As we always say here at Cascade Media Group, when you invest in your community, you're really just investing in yourself.
Yes, amen.
Good night.
This program is brought to you by Clark Star.